Welcome and thank you for joining me today. Here I'm playing the paint. We did a pretty cold scene previously, so this time we're going to warm ourselves up a little bit with a nice warm sunrise. One of the things I've noticed as I've looked back through my paintings is that I tend to have the light on the mountains coming from the right side, and I want to change it up a little bit today. We're going to have our light source coming in from the left side. So we've prepared our 18 by 24 inch stretched canvas with a layer of our liquid white, base white, and we're using our full palette laid out here today. I'm going to let this painting a little bit take me where it wants to go. So I want to make sure I had my full palette available to me today. So we've got our titanium white, our turquoise, phthalo turquoise, a Prussian blue, lamp black, Van Dyke brown, alizarin crimson, sap green, a little Prussian green, some yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and a cad yellow, and our bright red. So with that, let's get started, and we're going to take our previously used brush for our base coat here, and we're just going to pick up a little bit of the cad yellow, just kind of work it into the bristles a little bit. We're going to start just off here in this little corner here. Sun's just starting to peek up around. Instead of that, we're just going to start picking up a little bit of the Indian yellow. Work that into the bristles too. So start taking this a little bit orange. And you'll see it immediately when you lay it on here that it's just got a hair. If you get a hair, you just pick it up with the edge of the brush and take it off your brush. And we're going to extend this out a little bit further to the right here. And with this, we're going to pick up just a small touch of bright red. Again, work that into the bristles a little bit. You'll start to see the red starting to come through. If you don't have enough, just go ahead back, pick up a little bit more. And I think we'll just finish with a little bit brighter red on this side here. And we want to blend this out nicely so you don't see those individual brush strokes. We're going to work our way down and up, right to left. So if we're blending this red out and back into the orange and yellows. As we pick up more of the white underneath, we'll lighten the sky up even more. And I'm going to wipe my brush off a little bit, try to get some of this red off. I keep noticing that I'm dropping a few pretty bright streaks in there, and I want to avoid doing that as I work into the yellow more. Looks like we're probably a little bit light here, but with a few clouds in the sky. We're not going to have to worry too much about that. So what we're going to do is just take a little bit of black and a little bit of our liquid white together with that same yellow brush. And we're going to pick up a little more, bring up some Indian yellow into this mixture. We're going to start with just the edge, and we're going to make some clouds that work their way down. And obviously they're going to get lighter as they move down. So we're going to switch over to the side that has more yellow in it. And we're going to show that we're picking up some of that nice bright yellow color. Actually, I'm going a little too dark on my gray. I'm going to lighten that up a little bit here. With some a little more liquid white, a little more, add a touch of titanium white to that. We don't want it to be quite storm cloud looks. Just early morning clouds that haven't quite lightened up from the sun. Yes, they're pretty stick. Flip it back over and blend this in a little bit. I'm going to add a little touch of red to the bottoms of these clouds. Wherever there's light getting caught up in here. Helps give them a little more definition. And let's put another wavy cloud floating here. A little further off in the distance. And I'm getting a little mix of the bright red and cad yellow, so it's going to lean a little bit orange red as it's picking up that morning sun. And we'll just keep rolling this on out. You notice I keep flipping my brush end to end. I've actually got the darker gray mixture on the one end of the brush and the redder, lighter, colorful mixture on the other end. And so it saves having to go back and forth between the palette. And just go and lightly brush up here. And then we're going to pick up a little bit darker, another cloud that's going to be overlapping that one directly. Go down just a touch more black. I want this one to stand out that it's closer. I'm just making little circular strokes. This causes the bristles when they catch. It makes the edges all a bit rounded. As a lot of clouds tend to be. Back into our reds. This one's going to be a bit more red catching in here. You can make these clouds whatever shape you want. It's your world. And It's looking a little bit more like a shoe. We got the little Nike symbol here. Yeah. Not at all what I was going for, but clouds morph and change, and this one will too. Something very recognizable. Now we're going to very, very lightly just kind of pick up some of this color and pull it up. And we're going to clean our brush off. Just take it on a paper towel. Since I don't use solvents as I paint, I tend to use a paper towel just to pull off a good bit of the paint. It doesn't get it completely cleared, but it gets a lot of it off. And we're going to lightly go across those clouds. And just kind of blend it back into the sky. That kind of sets them back into the scene so they're not so stark and staring at you. Alright, so we're going to take our palette knife now, and we're going to use a little bit of Van Dyke Brown, some alizarin crimson, touch of our Prussian blue, and since these ones are set pretty far back, I'm going to bring this up in value a little bit with some titanium white. And get a nice red-brown, very warm color here. I'm going to pull this down. And we're going to cut across to pick up a nice little roll. We got to decide where these mountains are going to live. This set's going to be way in the back, so we're going to have a nice swoop in mountains. That's the official term, swoop. Swoop the mountains. And we're just getting some of the paint on the knife there, and we're just going to pull it down. And these don't need to be very, very long in depth because they're set pretty far back. They're just kind of peeking up above the other mountains here. And just kind of keep in mind where you're, lift off any large globs of paint you leave on there, or it'll drag out from your brush pretty far. And with those, we're going to take a dry brush, clean and dry. And we're going to reach up here and we're just going to pull down the mountainside. Pulling in the direction of the land's flowing. We're going going to put this one right in front. And we're just going to blend this out in the bottom. This creates a misty effect. Now we're going to take some titanium white, a little bit of our liquid white, pull this into a portion of this. We want this to be lighter in value. This is going to represent the lit side of the mountain. I'm going to bring in a bit of Indian yellow into this so we get a nice glowing mountain face. But you can see that there, nice little and I said we were going to have the light on this side, so that's where we're going to start. We're just going to pull the knife down. And we'll let the little darker areas poke through. And add some variation to the face of the mountain. Notice some of my earlier ones look almost like pyramids. There's almost no variation in that face of the mountain at all. And that's not exactly what you would like to see. Although there are those mountains that do look like pyramids, the majority of them do not. Clean off the palette knife of that particular shade. And for the shadowed side, to keep it warmer, we're going to take, instead of just a stark blue, we are going to use alizarin crimson in there to help take it more to a purple. Crimson. I want it to really be more of a maroon purple. Cooler than the front side and darker in value as it is the shadows, but still a warm value going on there. Drag this down with the shape of our mountain back here. This could use a little bit darker in here. Got a little bit too much white peeking up in here, so we're just going to go and pick that up a little bit and reset our shadows. So there you have a nice broken up mountain peak. Go back to that dry brush we were using, and we're going to pick up Start with the lighter values, and we're just going to pull that up the mountain a little bit. This gives direction to the flow of the strokes with the mountain itself. Clean that off. Go across and just lightly blend the bottom. Now to this, we're going to clean off that purple off of our knife. We're going to have take some more Van Dyke brown and some more crimson. And just a touch of black this time. I want these to be a little more dark, a little bolder. We're going to draw place another set of mountains right off the side of the painting. So pull this out, come across, nice little roll. And by being darker in value and a little bit more coming out of the window here of the viewer's perspective, it will appear closer. And this pushes those other mountains back further into the scene. Foothill here. Maybe another one right here. And that one won't really show until I go do the highlights. But we still have quite a bit left over of our previous highlights. What we're going to do is add just a touch of crimson to that. It's going to darken it and bring it a little warmer even. You know, keep it warm. So we're going to pick up some crimson. Bring it right down into this. We're just going to actually, before we lay this in, we're going to pull down our mountain faces. I'll start in the back one and pull it down first. And then the next one closest to the back. Pull this down. We've got ourselves another peak here. And then we have a foothill right here. A foothill right here. And what this does is evens out the paint load so that when you put your highlights on, it doesn't blend out quite so much. Because you've lifted a lot of the paint out. Alright, so we've got our highlight roll already on there. We're just going to lightly touch along the surface, going in the direction of the face of the mountain. I think maybe this one, a little piece that sticks out right here. And just like that, we're creating all kinds of nice little variations. Some rocks, some casting their own additional shadows back in here. Catching that nice warm sun coming up. Catching light back in here. A little white caught back in here. Again, some light there. Make sure you pull that light all the way down to where the other mountain's going to overlap in front, where you won't get a good transition. That need that sharp break in the light to dark to really show this edges in front. And so we're going to come over here. We got a little foothill mountain here. Now we're going to add a little black to our, or even just some more Prussian blue. To our previous shadowed value. Darken up the shadows here. And just a small touch up in here. Give more character to those mountains. Then we have to decide what we're going to have down in front. I think what we're going to do is take our purple trees. We're going to have ourselves a hill of trees coming up here. Some of those trees. Low spot between a couple of competing hills here. This definitely needs to be filled in a little more. And this gives the indications of various sets of trees out in the distance that are just kind of breaking up the top view, breaking up that edge. You can see them sticking up, catching a little bit of light. And as we come closer, we're going to start adding in greens. But we also need to lay out our stream here. And I think that stream's going to work its way from back in here. What I'm going to do is start bringing in some blue. And we'll start with some turquoise added into our red-brown. I don't want it to be too stark of a blue. I want it to be adding some titanium white, because the further away we are, to be a little bit lighter. Light and dark at the same time. Kind of a mix. I claim that this is coming in from way off. Kind of meanders back. You can see it more. And from here, we're getting darker. And we're gonna add in some of our color here, but Where does this stream go? This is in your painting, you kind of have to ask yourself, where did this thing come from? Where are we headed with it? I got a little bit of a turn here. We're going to take a clean brush and we're going to pull the water as it flows along this. And maybe we have a little bit of a waterfall here. So we're just going to drop, swoosh. A little bit's falling over this way. That goes into a little bit of a pool here before it continues on its way. It looks like I've just about exhausted my... way too much. Blues here. I added some Prussian blue to my turquoise blue here. Also adding in that red brown. And by having the colors together, the blue is going to show through more so than, but having the red and the brown of the mountains mixed in marries them together a bit. And so we go back into a stream. Kind of a pool of water here. When I bring the brush over and clean this up with some flow of water, I think we'll be alright. I do need to go back here, bring in some more white, and actually I'm going to pick up some of this Indian yellow in here. It's going to make a little bit of a green, but I think you would kind of see more of the yellow shining through back in here. Needs to be lighter. Alright, so what we're going to do is take a clean and dry brush, and we're just going to pull this in the flow of the river here. So it's going to come back as if it's a little bit of a stream, not so much of a river. And we're going to kind of double back as it comes back around here. And we get here and we just fall. Before we continue on our way, flowing on out of the painting. And we'll lift some of the paint off here. I'm going to do that again, ever so gently, just lifting some of the paint off and blending a little bit more. And now I'm blending the water out more. I'm going to bring the land down over the water. Yeah, you get the idea. That it's gonna fall right here. So we're gonna take a fan brush, which I did not set out. Hey, let's go ahead and make some grass. My arm is going to sleep holding this. So we're going to clean off our palette knife. We're going to add in a little bit of banks over here. That needed mixed in better. The idea is that we're giving some depth to the water level, that it sits down in. Blend this out a little bit more, so that the water itself isn't just floating in your sky, but we need to start bringing in some green into this painting. So what we're going to do is we have our sap green. We're going to take the sap green, add a little bit of crimson to it. It's going to start to make a brown, but it's going to lean green. We're going to start pushing in some land here. It's going to come right out over top of our stream. We need to bring some more green, maybe a little bit of black into this as we get closer. It's going to start darkening up. Keep the crimson in there too. Same thing going on this side. And you got to keep evaluating your image as you go here, seeing how closely it represents what you had envisioned in your mind. Seems that we're having some internet issues. That's always wonderful. But out here, we're going to have some little deciduous trees back in the background. So we're going to take a little bit of brown. I'm going to bring that into our little bit of black in here. We can take a little bit gray with some titanium white. We've got some little trees out here. And we're probably already far enough away. These need to be a little darker because they're in front of that in front of that background back there. So they got to stand out a little more. Yep, a little more black in there. So we're definitely not staying visible back there. That's too much. We'll darken these ones a little bit here. Just some indications that there's some other things growing back in here. We're going to set this back further into the scene. So you don't have to be real detailed on your branches, just make sure that they show up is all. We'll add a little bit of highlights to them. And the same thing on this side, we got a few growing out here. And I hope the internet connection issue resolved itself here. Downsides to being a one-man show. Don't have somebody to keep an eye on those things and try to help where they can. Now these we're going to clean up our brush. Take another liner brush. I'm actually going to use this value we used for the face of the mountains a little bit here. Mix the two together. And just bring a touch of brown down into this. And we're just going to highlight these very gently. Just indicate they're getting some light here. It's not a real stark detail here because these are still pretty far away, but you're going to see the light kind of hitting them a little bit. Gives them a little bit of dimension. Helps add to the character of the painting just a little bit with these little details. You don't want it to be real bold of a difference because it's going to blend away a little bit as you get closer. But it helps set them in the scene. And we're going to make sure you get all of them. If you find the paint's not sticking, try to thin it down just a little bit with some oil. Looks like we probably could use a few more in there. Alright. I'm going to give these trees some leaves. Fortunately, we've got more and more brushes. I'm going to bring some sap green down. And a touch of Indian yellow. Looks like we're going to need some liquid white in this mix. So we'll have to bring down, maybe I'll use a little Prussian green too. So I want this to stay a little bit darker, but it needs to stick. Having this green let's get more of that. It's not coming off of the palette there. And just keep putting little taps on your trees. You can't see them real clearly here. After that, we're going to bring in some yellow, a little bit of yellow ochre. So we got some cad yellow and some yellow ochre here. And we're going to use that. Just kind of add some highlights to our trees. Again, these aren't going to stand out a lot because they're still pretty far away. But it gives you the impression of some light hitting out that direction. More yellow. Now we're going to go back to our, if I can find it. We're going to mix some sap green and some Prussian green together. And this is going to start lay over top of this. So basically we've got another hill here. And it's much darker as it's closer to us here. Bring down a bunch more of this because it's going to need it. And much more green. Wow, it's using up a lot of it. I'm kind of heavy here. And then we're really framing in our stream. And it's getting a little bit carried away in the lights. This is a very green hillside. Probably too green, but we'll break it up with some highlights. Some yellow ochres, and that'll take away a lot of the sting. Alright, so yeah, that's going to be problematic. So what we're going to do here, so we're going to finish working on our streams. We're going to pick up some, we're going to bubble up from here. The water's cascading down in here. causing this to froth up. And just with the corner of the brush, we're doing some a little bit of mists as it falls down. Got some and I'm getting a lot of, get some titanium white in this, a lot of picking up some of that green. That's not going to work out so well. Just going to bubble this on out. And so we're just kind of bubbling along. Down into this. And we got to clean the brush off in between. That's one of the steps that I'm missing here. Because we got a lot of blue on that brush now. That immediately cancels out the whites. We'll just add a little bit out in here, some movement. I think we'll take the brush and kind of just add a few indications of some a lot of movement going on in our water here. Now we need to frame that water in. So we're going to take our palette knife and we're going to get some brown and some black. And we've got ourselves a little bit of a bank here. So I have to do a value difference there. this sets the water into its surface, gives a depth here. We're going to rinse this out here. Got too much mist to really see what's going on this side over here, so we're just going to mist this out. See some of that green going on beside it. Alright, now we're going to pick up some yellow ochre. We're going to place a few things growing up by the edge of the water here. That are obscuring a little bit of what we can see here. Pick up some Indian yellow to go with it. They're also grown on the other side too. Maybe. Can't get my brush to cooperate right now. Alright, so what we're going to do is take this yellow ochre and some Indian yellow, a little bit of crimson. We're going to make a few things happen out in here. Here. So this thing's growing up right along the bank. And now, we're going to put more of this crimson down in here. More Indian yellow. And we're just going to go right. Yeah, that's pretty messy there. Nice. Red bush growing up in this corner down here. It's a little bit of white. Now we're gonna get a little crazy. So we're gonna have a tree living over here. Let's get back to that line brush. Bring down some black. And some brown. And what's left of our Prussian green over here. A little more brown. We're gonna have a tree right here. Getting close to getting to that home stretch here. We're getting some more branches on here. This one's going to have a little more black and a little more green. So we've got a big one that lives right here, and a bigger one. He's going to have a couple of pals. So let's draw them in here. And he's got a lot of nice roots growing on here. We're going to pull this down, get some of that paint just on the edge. You need some friends. And we'll be adding some bushes and stuff around here, so he doesn't have to be quite so uniform in his roots. And let's see here. What else do we want to do to this painting? We need a rock or something peeking out on the side over here, keeping that water from pushing out. Alright. Get these roots laid in here. Not quite as gnarly rooted. I'll get some more branches on them. And we're going to add some highlights to these branches. Anyway, so I think we're looking fairly decent there. Let's get ourselves our palette knife. Bring down some of this red orange we had before. Bring in some more of this bright red and yellow. Got ourselves a nice little orange here, and we're just going to touch on some highlights here. You want some of those variations, so looks like bark. So we'll catch some light here and there. A bit of highlights catching out here on these roots. A bit of light catching here. Well, catch that on the end. Definitely have this one over here catching some light. This is what's going to make it stand out in front of that mountain here. I love bringing these worlds to life. I hope you do too. Hope your world's coming along nicely, and that you're happy with your successes here today. We gotta go add some water line into our stream. Let's see here, add a rock to the waterfall. This one up here. Add some leaves to our gorgeous trees here, because everything's gorgeous. when we painted ourselves. Highlights here. Last tree. Some highlights out there on them. And we'll get them some, give them all some dressings, some leaves. Get them all ready for a Thanksgiving family visit. Here in the States, we've got a holiday coming up next week, Thanksgiving, where we get together with family and friends and sharing a nicely prepared meal, just fellowship and friends, and it's a good family time. Alright, got too much paint right here, gonna pull some of that off. Looks like I could use a little bit more along this tree here. This trunk's not well represented here. There we are. Alright, so let us get some nice dark green. Just gonna go right into the sap green. Add a touch of crimson. We're gonna start giving these guys we're going to have to darken that quite a bit. So add some black in here. I'm not getting a stark contrast yet. Right here. Brush. We'll add some highlights into this. To get our highlights, we're going to bring some sap green. We're just going to bring in a lot of yellow, a bit of titanium white, and some Indian yellow and some red. Just I'm going to pick up some of that orange yellow that's out in the skylight right now. It's mixed in so that the white's not stark. I don't want white patches in our trees. And starting with this, we're just going to tap it in here. And I want much more yellow. Just a touch of bright red. That needs to be a lot. All right. Touch down here, catching some light. We're going to take our little red brush, add some bushes and stuff in a minute here, but first we need to take a little bit of a rock value. We're going to have a little bit of a rock jutting out here, forcing that water to go down. Come on, get on the end of the knife and lay yourself in there. Put a little bit of a highlight on them. This is going to be a little bit darker here. We got that fiery red bush. And back to the screen. A couple of things going on in here. water line. Slightly separate off the stream from the bank. Lift that with the brush here in a minute. As we bubble and catch as we go along. Just a little bit back in the back here. With that, I think we will call this one done. I think we accomplished most of what we set out to do. We've got our nice set of trees back in here, grove. We've got a nice warm feel, sunrise coming up. Warmth in the trees. Waterfall could be a little bit better. This is the first time I've attempted the waterfall live, and I've seen better. Try to clean that up just a little bit down in here maybe. Don't know if that exactly improved it a whole lot. Put this down again. So we get our angle of the waterfall falling. I think that helps improve it a little bit. What else do we need to do here? I don't think we need to do anything else than sign it. And I'll do that after the stream is ended. So if you painted along today, I hope you ended up with a beautiful scene you can be proud of. One fit for your wall. And I know I enjoyed mine. I hope you had fun. So with that, I'm going to sign off here. Have yourself a great weekend and a great week. And until next time, just remember, don't be too hard on yourself. Just keep painting. Bye-bye.